G'day everyone, mucking around with this VZ Commodore, and I've gone and done it again. I've started on something without making a video right from the beginning. But I'll show you what I'm up to. As you can see, I've got a dirty big hole here. Yeah, this wood's all rotten and it's time to go. I'll show you some clips of what happened. I was driving along, I had some stuff in the back yesterday and it just broke right through. So I'm going to pull all this off. I'm going to show you how I do it. Sure you can figure that out by the moment. Undo a few screws and pull it off, but in actual fact, some of those screws aren't coming out and I'm having trouble. Well, no trouble getting the wood off, but trouble getting these screws out. So I'm just getting a crowbar and breaking the wood. It's that old and rotten that it's just breaking it. It's quite easy actually. As you can see, this screw is still in here and I can just pick this up. Now I've undone a few, but there's another one there. I reckon if I just get the crowbar under here, this whole piece of wood will come off. Yeah, this wood's garbage.
We've been living in sin so long, all the fields are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life.
Well, that's all done and it wasn't too hard at all. A good friend dropped by and lent me a pair of his Stilsons and made the job even easier. Got to get a few screws out, give the thing a bit of a clean up, and also give my driveway a clean up. Well, I've cleaned the driveway and it's looking pretty good, but got a bit of a drama. As I went to move the ute, I noticed it was fuel spraying all up behind me as I was moving it. Now I've been really careful today, making sure I don't hit the fuel pump. Well, I'm sure you all can see what's wrong here. There's a piece missing here, and here it is. A piece of wood, something, I don't know, had fallen down on there and snapped it. Well, so what I did was basically put a piece of tape around this and held it on just enough so I could get it onto the grass, because the ute was blocking two of my cars in the middle of the driveway that I normally use during the week. And it turns out I can't get this pump till midweek. So it's gonna have to stay here while I fix it. But I guess I can get onto these screws that I still need to pull out, and I can cut some wood to go on this tray, and when that pump comes in, I'll show you how to fit the pump, and then we'll finish the rest of this tray. Well, it's the next day and I've got all these screws out. I've even ground down little high spots that were sticking up because of the thread that was formed by the screws put in from the factory. And as you can see, it's all wet. Again, I've started doing something without videoing. I am going to gurney this whole thing. I'm going to get all those 20 years of grime off. Might as well while the tray's off. Well, the wood of the tray's off. Should look all right. Also got these back pieces off. Well, this piece I needed to pull off to actually get the wood out. But as you can see, it's a bit of a banana. I think the guy's backed into something during its day. And that's most definite, because if you look at this panel here, yep, you can see it's bent like a banana. So I'm going to panel beat all of this out to the best of my ability before going to throw it all back together again. That's all cleaned up and it looks a lot better. I even went ahead and spray painted right inside here along the edges there where there were a few chips in the black paint, so that when I put these wood panels on, if I go to try and do any touch-ups, I won't get paint all over the wood. So the other thing I've gone and done off camera, I've straightened up this panel here, completely disassembled it, took the light out of it and found that it actually needs a bulb in it. It wasn't working. I straightened this panel here, and I've also put a little bit of paint right along that edge there. I'll let that dry for about 12 hours and put all that back together later. The only other thing I've still yet got to do is try and fix this back panel right here. It's still a little bit wavy. I'm not real sure how I'm going to go about it because I can't swing a hammer in here. I'll come up with something. Maybe I can put a block hammer in here and swing from underneath. I'll see how I go. Well, this might work. I found a scissor jack. I'm going to take this panel out further than what I need and hopefully it'll spring back into the right spot. Yeah, that worked real well. Perfect. Well, the new pump came in last night, so it's time to get this one out. And it's a really simple thing to do. All you got to do is turn this in a anti-clockwise motion. I usually just get a hammer and a screwdriver and just knock these edges. I've already undone it. That just comes off like that. I will give it a real good clean here and get all this grime off here and dirt before I pull this out. Okay, I've given this a bit of a clean up here. And that rings off. So let's see how easy this is. Yeah, well, that's really easy to get out. Okay, there's a couple of things here in the way I can see. There's a hose here. Looks like you got to fish it out first. Oops. Spray of fuel. So this thing here's got to come out first. And then there you go. Spraying fuel everywhere. And that comes out like that. There you go, that wasn't that hard at all. Okay, with this completely out, I've got to take it onto the bench and make sure the pump that we've got is the correct one. I did check the pump before, it does look right, but we'll just double check. Okay, there's the two pumps up on the bench there, and with some quick observation, they look the same. Except one looks brand new, and this one of course doesn't have this piece broken. Okay, just going over some pinning, make sure the pin's all the same. Yep, that looks the same. For all intents and purposes, I think these, yep, that's the right one. So I've got to go throw this back in and it'll be reversal, except I did see a little bit of dirt still all around this opening here. Now there is an O-ring right here. I'd like to take that off, give it a real good clean. Of course, not getting anything in the fuel tank on purpose. Right, so I've got all this cleaned up, and I've also cleaned up the O-ring. I'm actually surprised it didn't come with a brand new O-ring, but it didn't. So I'll throw that in there, making sure this edge here's got no contaminants on it. I seem to be able to clean it and clean it and clean it, and sometimes I feel like I'm getting nowhere with it. I've been cleaning that for a good 15-20 minutes now. Okay, that's on there. Let's try and get this pump in. So that bit there's a little strange. I'm going to guess there's a baffle in here. No, there's not. I can't get this thing to sit. It's hitting something. I mean, this thing's brand new, so it's a little bit stiff. Let me go and investigate this before I throw this in, because this wants to go and sit way over there. I'm not sure. I'll be back. Okay, so what I did find, where this one was running around this way, that's this piece. Sorry, yeah, this one was running around this way. The old one seemed to come back this way. So I changed its orientation. I just spun it here on this. It was really easy. I didn't force it or anything. So I'll give this another go. Looks like that's got to go in here and it works its way to the other side of the tank. And I'm going to guess that that bit there keeps it off the bottom of the tank. I honestly don't know. Yeah, so I had another look at the other pump just then. And it looks like this is rotated downwards, so that when it goes in, it that sits on the bottom of the tank. That's my theory anyway. I'm going to try and make it look as much like the other pump as possible. Okay. That goes in, and that sits. Naturally, it's coming in to sit. I'm not convinced. I'm going to have a little bit of a play before I go any further. So again, I had a look at the other pump, and it definitely comes out this way on the other pump, and not around this way. And I think if it was to come around this way, it might get in the way of the fuel level there. So I am going to orientate it this way. Okay, that's on there, and I want to show you something with this top piece. If you look here, you've got little lines here. They wouldn't be called indentations because they're sitting upwards, and they have to fall under this section here. So I've got to spin this now clockwise till that gets under there. So a couple of light taps with a hammer, and that was easy. It just pushed in here, and you can see all those little tabs there line up. Okay, on with the fuel line. So this is quite simple how this works. It's just little clips that you can see in here, and what they do is clip over this ridge here. And if we look all the way inside, you probably can't see on the video there, but there is an O-ring in there. That just clips on. Now there is a tool to get it off, which slips over here. If that was on there, it slips over here and you just simply push it back in one bit. But I don't have that tool, so I use my scriber here. And I had the fortunate thing of that being broken, but I've done it in the past where I've got a scriber. I've gently put this in here, got one side, cocked it a little bit, got to the other side, and managed just to pull it off. So if you don't have the proper tool, you can just use a scriber. Now I'll just check that that O-ring is actually still okay in there, and it looks fine. So That just simply pushes on like that. Done. Now I hope everything's right. Let's go get the keys for the car and hit the ignition and see if fuel doesn't go everywhere. Well, actually, we can't do that yet because we would need to put this plug on. There we are. Now I'll go get the keys. I reckon we call that good. Let's check it out. Yeah, there's no leaks. All right, I can move on to doing this tray. So it's another beautiful, sunny winter's morning, and I'm working again on the VZ. Today I am gonna get this tray done. Last night what I did was cut up a bunch of wood that I got from the local hardware, cut all the ends down to the right size, and I found the right size was 2,260 millimeters. And I cut all that down with a saw here, well, the drop saw from my mate. I do have a drop saw, but not as good as this one, and that made work so much easier. So let's get onto it, get all these pieces of wood laid in there, and get it done. Well, I think the first thing I've got to do here is mark the center of the tray. So I'll get a mark here and all the way down to there. And the other thing, I've put a box over the fuel pump so we don't have another mishap. So with the mark down there, I'll put a bit of masking tape in here and on both sides, and I'll mark where this is. Now I don't want to accidentally drill into here when I put the boards in, so I'm going to put the mark just on the left side of the bolts, or of the existing bolt holes or screw holes, and I'll do that all the way along these 5 braces here. Okay, I'm finding that some of these pieces of wood here have got a very slight bow to them. Every time I'm trying to put that end on, trying to adjust it through here, it keeps moving on me. And I'll grab the camera and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You might not be able to see it on the camera, but I'm getting inconsistent gapping. So I think what I need to do is I've got a bit of a runny nose. I've grabbed this one here, and I had them all numbered last night. You'll see there's numbers on them, so I put them back in the same spot, but I kind of did it in the dark, so I couldn't really see. I found this one here is probably the straightest one of the lot, so I'm going to use this one as the first one I put on, and then bring all the others sort of like to it. So I'll put a little mark here with my tape line. I'll put a tape line up the back there as well. And I'm going to drill a hole here. I'll drill a hole up the back there. Like I said, use this one as a guide, and I'm going to bring all the others to it.
You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. It's about to leave. Oh,
one side done. This panel here, I had to get a crowbar in and get it from underneath and put it up in there and at a bit of an angle to pull it in. But it worked. And it's looking good. Time to get the other side done. Well, that's coming up a treat. It looks a lot better than it did before. I've still got to put this back section on and put the license plate on. I do have to get a new light for the license plate too. And there are a few more things I've got to do as well. You can still see I've got markers here. That's because there's got to be a row of screws along there and also along there. But for now, I'll get onto the back section here and get this all reassembled. Well, this is proving a little more difficult than originally planned. I thought this would just go straight on, but I'm finding that none of these holes are lining up. And that was because when I measured all of this, it measured at 17mm, the gap in here, and so did the old wood. This wood's 19mm, and I thought I might have to route out a section through the back here. I got lucky with the front, and I've gotten lucky with the sides that the 19mm fits in. But it's proving a little bit difficult here on the back. I'm hoping that my 17 measurement, or my 17mm measurement was incorrect and 19 will fit. And I've got one bolt up the end there. I'm hoping I can just force this down enough. It's probably just spreading this a little bit. I'm hoping I can get these bolts in, because I really don't want to take a mil or two off the rear of these planks. So I'm going to play with it, do my best to get a screw in. Look what I'm using. I'm using my good snap-on screwdriver. You know what? I might just be lucky here. You know what they say? Just get an impact. Oh, look at that. That's going to work. Chipping all my beautiful paint. That's all right. I've got more paint. I can repaint this whole side. Look, I've got one in. I might see if I can't get... Oh, look at that. I'll get a nut on the back of that. It'd be nice if I had an extra pair of hands. This is where you really need one of your mates over, or your wife home. She's out shopping. Look at that, I think I've got that. really didn't build these to come apart. There is bolts and nuts everywhere in really difficult places. Look at that. I'll get that other bolt tightened up. Put a nut on the back of it. Yeah, but these aren't lining up. Check this out. They're not lining up. They are gonna need some muscles. Okay, there is no muscles here, but maybe a little bit of brains. That is not lining up. I'll show you. Even clamped down, there's a gap there. Okay, I think the next course of action is to get a drill and just drill it out. Yeah, that's what I'll do. These four here, you got two here and two over here, are extremely hard to get into. I'll try and show you where you've got to get your fingers up to hold the nut on. I don't even know if you can see it there. There it is, there's one, and there's one below it. But you can't get your hand in there. So I know when I pulled it apart, I just got a spanner in there and I just got it undone and it all fell down on the ground. I can't do that trying to put it together. So what I'm going to do is put a bit of masking tape on a ring spanner here and try and hold the nut in there and see if I can't get it up in there, and then use my rattle gun to try and turn it on. Sit that in like that and try and make this work. The thing is, I can't even see. It's a really silly idea how they've done this. I can't get my head in there. There we go, and the nut's gone. I've got to go chase the nut. It's going down the driveway along with the spanner. Yeah, I did see the nut go in the grass here. This is something I'll definitely have to find. Oh, luck. There it is right there. Sorry about that. The battery went flat and you didn't get to see me fart-arsing around fitting the rest of this. But it's on, and it's time to move on to the screws I've got to put through the top here. I've gone ahead and marked some out, so let's start drilling some holes. all that cleaned up, for the best part of this job is done. Couple little touch-ups to do along here, but I can do that off camera. I will let this leach for about a month, and then I'll put some clear coat on the top of it. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you will come and join me on the next one. Bye!